Oh, let's go. So here's the fun thing. You're probably going to hear a little bit of me on Ross's side because we're broadcasting from the same space right now.
Oh, what a day it's going to be.
Oh, you know what? Everything fun, everything new. We're getting it done. Welcome to OpCon 2020. This is the kickoff of our 4 days of games. You're going to see a lot of these two faces, and I promise we'll work on Ross's face right now since we're quite literally doing this all out of one spot in my garage. Welcome. It is everything up around Comic-Con. There's a lot of panels going on. This is the panel that you can actually interact with for the next 4 days. If you'd like to join us, you're more than welcome to. There's a lot going on, isn't there, Ross?
There's going to be so much happening. We're going to be playing different games, doing all kinds of questions, talking about all the different things we do at the op and why what's cool with Comic-Con. It's just going to be a good time.
So now there's people who are probably unfamiliar with the op and exactly what the op is. So, I mean, let's talk a little bit about the op gaming. Who is the op, and what is the op? I guess is the better question.
So the op is a gaming company that's been here in San Diego for 26 years. We've done all kinds of cool stuff from, if you would know us from our licensed monopolies, where we do all kinds of cool different things with different licenses like Breaking Bad and Marvel and Disney and Harry Potter. We also do all kinds of cool party games too. So you may know us from like Telestrations or Blank Slate. Along with that, we have a lot of cool games like in the hobby space. So we've got deck building games and dice rolling games, all kinds of cool stuff. So we've been here in San Diego for a long time doing all kinds of good games and bringing those to game night.
How long have you been in San Diego?
26 years. So last year we celebrated our 25th. So you may know us as USAopoly, but then we did a whole wonderful rebrand for the op, which is kind of a cool internal name we always called ourselves, and now we're going for that. So it's going to be good.
I'm glad you cleared that up because I know that USAopoly is a name that a lot of people know, and I don't know if they made the connection with the shift. Same people, same game company, right here in San Diego, which is pretty cool. Let me ask you something, and this is especially interesting around Comic-Con because you have so many different titles of your games. But why is gaming so important?
So gaming is a big part of celebrating pop culture. It's a whole other medium you kind of get to explore and enjoy those licenses and brands that you know and love. We've been going to Comic-Con for forever too, and I think it's kind of cool when you think about it because Comic-Con, you know, we celebrate. We always see, oh my gosh, what's in Hall H? What Marvel thing's going on? What is DC doing? Where's the Star Wars thing happening? And with gaming, you get to experience all those brands and licenses in a fun way where you get to engage with it directly. Right, so whether we're rolling dice on the table or playing different cards or doing some kind of role-playing game, we all get to kind of experience and like remember our love of why we enjoy these things and play in a brand new way.
I'm just looking at some of the titles you guys have for like Trivial Pursuit is insane.
It's pretty neat because like I think this year we have our new Breaking Bad one coming out. We have our Golden Girls. We've got Harry Potter, Trivial Pursuit. And so it's all kinds of ways that you can kind of dive deep on that. Another new one we have coming out later this year is going to be our horror deluxe one. So for all the people that love horror games, it's going to be a fun way to kind of dive deep on that.
So there's a lot of people who are familiar with the radio station watching right now. Jack, who does our morning show, is a huge Golden Girls fan. And the fact that this exists now and he knows about it because I know he's watching is going to absolutely change his life.
Well, that's good. It's good. It's funny because along with the Trivial Pursuit, we have a Golden Girls clue too.
Stop it.
Yeah, totally.
He might actually have that. Knowing him, that I'm pretty sure. Yep, there it is. Golden Girls Trivial Pursuit. Jack is 100% in.
Oh, it's so funny. Yeah, it's good stuff. And along with that, we also do puzzles too, right? So, which is another great way to kind of see those moments and get them on the table and figure it all out.
Oh, so this is the new the horror edition Trivial Pursuit that's coming out, right? The big one.
The big one, yeah. We have that new deluxe one. We pull up what you got there. Oh yeah, totally. That is directly what that is. So what's fun too, it has all those neat little tokens, right? So with those kind of deluxe pieces, you have over 1,800 questions moving around. It's a little bit bigger than the bite-sized one that we've all kind of gotten used to. So it's a fun way to really dive deep on that.
Now, you say you do puzzles too. I mean, is there anything you don't do? Really?
Well, let's see. We do playing cards. We've done board games for the Disney parks. We've done really cool statues for like our Yahtzees that got going on. So, but and we've done all kinds of cool stuff from Kickstarters to all kinds of games.
So, what games are we going to focus on this weekend with 4 days of playing games? I mean, we can't obviously play them all. We'd love to play them all, but which ones are we really going to focus in on?
So we're going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. So one of the big things we've been working on the last few years, I guess we could say forever, but we really enjoy our party games. So this week we're going to be playing Hues and Cues, which is a brand new game we've been working on with designer Scott Brady. And this game is where it's how you perceive color. So we're going to be diving deep on that. We can obviously talk about it when we're playing it more, but this is going to be a fun way to figure out what words do you associate with colors, and can you get people to guess that and figure out which color you're thinking of, right? So depending on the different yellow phrases or reds or greens or blues you're going to be using, you don't want to have the vaguest clues. You kind of want to get them going a little bit, right? So instead of just saying ocean, that can be any kind of blue. You kind of want to gauge a little bit more, right? So
like Caribbean.
Oh, Caribbean. I like that. Totally.
See, right. that instantly makes kind of like this aqua blue thought in my head.
Definitely does, right? Or maybe that kind of Corona color too. So, different word on that now, I guess, meaning, but it's all good. So, that's funny. So, we're doing Hues and Cues. Along with that, we're playing some Blank Slate, which is another one of our big party games. Oh, if I'm jumping through, I can go to the Trivial Pursuits too. If I want to.
I was actually looking for. I thought I had Blank Slate in here somewhere.
Oh, it's all good. Yeah. So we'll be doing Blank Slate, which is a really fun party game. We've been enjoying that for the last couple of years. And so in this game, what you're doing, it's about matching words with other people at the table. So you'll be doing there's cards that'll flip up, and the cards are going to have either a blank at the beginning or a blank at the end. So it'll be a word like blank house. So you want to write down a word and you want to match with at least one other person on the board. If you do that, then you get 3 points. And if you match with more than one person, you only get 1 point. So the goal is to get 25 points. So you want to match with different things. So if we were to have blank house, you could do things like brick or bird or glass, right? So trying to figure out which one's going to match there. This one's been also really great to play over Zoom. So if people are watching from home, Blank Slate's going to be a great one to play along with in the chat, and see if they can match with you and me, Jeremy.
So that'll be fun, because those will be 2 games we'll probably play today that people can play while they're in chat. So this isn't just a one-way window. You're not just looking at us play games. We're actually going to look at you to come play with us. And I believe the first chance to play will be this afternoon at 2:00. If you're watching us on Twitch, if you're watching us on Facebook, it doesn't matter. You can play. We've got all the chats here, and you are more than welcome to drop in and play along with us. we have more on the Battle of Hogwarts expansion. Is that something we can touch on right now?
Oh, totally can, right? So we've been doing Hogwarts Battle. Has been one of our really cool deck building games we've had for about 3 years now. And what you're doing in the Battle for Hogwarts is you are playing as Ron, Harry, Hermione, and Neville. And it's a deck building game where you're playing through each of the movies of Harry Potter. And the game evolves with you. So it comes with 7 games in one. So with the first game, like your first years, you're still kind of learning how everything works. It's one of these nice intro into deck building games. So you have your different components you're going to be using to acquire allies and acquire new spells and items to help you defeat the Death Eaters and save the locations that are going on. So as you go through the game, it gets harder and harder as you grow up, right? So they gain more skills, gain more abilities, and the cards level up with them. You gain more cool mechanics as it happens too. We came out with an expansion last year for this monster box of monsters. It added Luna Lovegood as a character and 4 more, right?
I think what blows me away is, as you're talking about it, it sounds like a D&D campaign. It sounds like I'm progressing my character. And, as I go through the years, I'm gaining levels and I'm gaining spells and I'm gaining all this extra knowledge. And it sounds like it all leads up to this one big battle.
It really does. I mean, it's really cool how that goes on. One of the fun things about it, though, is it's not like a campaign where you keep things every game. Every game starts anew, right? So you kind of get to have a new experience with each game, but they level up as you go around. And with our new expansion that we're adding in, it's going to be Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, Charms and Potions. So it's going to be adding in a whole new character. So you get to play as Ginny Weasley for a 5th player. So now you can have a bigger game night. And then it's going to be adding a player board addition to your player board. So now you can have more spells. You're going to gain more abilities and a whole area that you can kind of make potions too. And then 4 more games that are going to be added in there, which is going to be a whole bunch of stuff for you to kind of really dive deep on the wizarding world.
So I guess that answers that question. Are there new expansions coming?
Yes. So the Charms and Potions expansion is going to be coming out literally next month. You can find more about it too on the Op website. So if you go to the op.games, we've got a whole little preview on there. We'll be talking about it. We have a whole thing going on called the Op at Home, which is a big part of what we're doing here with 94.9, and then gearing up for another big convention we have next week called Gen Con. So if you want to find out more about the Harry Potter battle expansions, you can check that out. And then we're also going to be previewing, I had a chance to sit down with Cami Mandel, who's one of the main designers for the game. And we're going to have a panel for that going up online on our YouTube channel this week. And then if you want to hear all about her little previews and stuff, she kind of dives deep on it.
So let me ask you this. It sounds like socials are a great way to keep up with you guys. How do we find the op everywhere? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. That way we can kind of make sure that we're plugged in with everything.
Yeah, so the best thing you can do is find us. So we're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram, we're on Twitch, we're on YouTube, all those things. So you can find us at the op.games or the op games and just ask questions away. We'll be sharing more definitely on this week too as some of those panels go up and more previews happen. And then as we get ready for the big release for the next expansion next month.
Let's see. Any more questions from chat? I guess there's we already answered how people can join. What else do we have here on the stack? We've talked about Comic-Con and how this is related. How is this year kind of changed for you? Because I know for you guys, this is something that's usually really huge in terms of getting in front of people. And don't you have like game panels where you can actually have people solicit games to you guys as well?
Yeah, it's very true, right? So just like how comics have different artists that'll come and pitch stories and pitch artists and things like that, we are the same way with games. We are in a renaissance period for board games right now. It is just fantastic. Over the last few years, it's gone from like 1,000 games being out a year to like over 5,000 games being out a year, which is just incredible to think about. And there's so many good games that are hitting the table and doing all these things. So we meet with different designers all around the world when we go to different conventions. So earlier in the year, and then here we are at Comic-Con and doing those different things. So people are still able to pitch us games and do different things. Because while we do have an inside studio that works on game design and development and so on, we love taking outside pitches. We have a whole team for that. So if people email us, we have a whole submission form they can send. We don't take ideas through our social media, but be sure to please like follow our channels on there on the website. You can hit up our inventor relations person, and he'll talk you through how our whole process works on that.
So I got to ask the question, and it's always the most difficult because it's like trying to pick your favorite child. Do you have a favorite game in the stack of op games?
Oh man. So I got asked that question yesterday too. It's pretty funny. So we've got so many games that I really enjoy playing, and a lot of our games are great for game nights. And I like playing with like a whole different diverse group. So not always heavy gamers or big gamers or like everybody likes playing, right? So it's tough to pick just one because we have so many different games that are going on. We have party games. I've really enjoyed doing Hues and Cues. It has been a huge hit this year. But I have to say, for our games that are coming out, I've probably been most excited for SpongeBob SquarePants Plankton Rising. I know it's not even on our list, which it's just like one of those things. But so we have a whole line of games. It's called our Rising engine, right? So it came out a couple years ago with our Thanos Rising game. And that was out right during the big Infinity War MCU thing. And this one, it's a co-op dice engine building game where you're rolling dice and trying to acquire your team to make sure you can defeat Thanos, right? So you're playing as the different Avengers, gathering different heroes. But this year we're coming out with a new version of that game where you're going to be playing as SpongeBob and Sally and Squidward and Patrick, and you're at the Krusty Krab, and Plankton is trying to steal the Krabby Patty recipe. And as he's doing that, you need to fight him off and make sure you can keep the Krusty Krab safe while at the same time also making Krabby Patties for everybody that's there and having them join your team. So
wait, I got to save the world and serve them food at the same time?
I mean, in Bikini Bottom, it gets crazy, right? So Uh, which is good. So like it's fun, right? Because we've got so many good games that are rocking. I think what's cool about what we do with the op is we have so many passionate people that enjoy all the different licenses and pop culture brands we get to be a part of. Especially like in related to Comic-Con, it's so funny because we're local, everybody wants to go to Comic-Con, and we always have a booth every year. And every year it's always been a different theme. Last year it was all It themed, so we had our big It game that came out. That was super fun. The year before, we had this whole Nightmare Before Christmas thing with a big wheel, and Jack was there and Oogie Boogie. The year before that, we had a whole Game of Thrones Clue experience. People had to walk through the booth and figure out what was the murder at the Red Keep. So it's fun that we get to kind of explore and take on these different licenses and kind of bring them to a new medium on the table.
So you mentioned game engine. I mean, obviously that doesn't work like a traditional video game where it's built on a certain platform. What is it? What is the definition of like a game engine?
So game mechanics are a very interesting thing, right? And those mechanics help build different engines. So over this week, I'll probably be saying things like cooperative or dice building or deck building or different things like that. And so all those different things are mechanics that you can use to bring into your game, right? So for Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, which we talked about earlier, that's a cooperative deck building game. So in that game, you're going to be playing down cards to acquire more cards into your deck. So like I'm going to get the Dumbledore card. I'm going to get the Wingardium Leviosa card. I'm going to get some Butterbeer. And all those different cards are going to have different abilities that are going to plug into my deck. So as I'm playing through and doing these things, I'm going to have cool synergies that are going to happen to boost up what I'm working on. Like with our Thanos Rising game and all the different Rising games we have going on, I'm going to be acquiring like Black Panther and Iron Man onto my team, and they're going to give me different abilities that I can do. And hopefully those will even have double bonuses too. So if I have all the Avengers, I can do some extra stuff and different things like that. So all the different mechanics you're going to see. And it's really fun too, because there's a bunch of different books that have come out recently that talk about all the different mechanics you can have to kind of change your game. So people are always asking us, oh my gosh, I want to design a game. I want to do a thing. What would you recommend? And it's kind of finding the different engines that you like and what games you enjoy playing, right? So if you wanted to really break it down, I could get super nerdy. I could be like, well, Monopoly is a roll and move set collection game where you are doing these things. Right?
That actually gives me good reference to what you're talking about, because I think of it as, all right, I've got a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old and my wife and we want to play a game as a family. Is there a specific engine or a certain mechanic that I'm looking for with games? Obviously, I see SpongeBob SquarePants Trivial Pursuit and I go, well, obviously that would be a game that my wife and I would have a blast playing, but it's probably not something that it's going to bounce off the kids well.
So like on that, if we were to hit a game that would be good for your kids, we have a whole line of games that's in our Astro Trash line, right? And so we have a game called Astro Trash and a new one that came out just for that last year called Bob's Burgers Family Food Fight. And so that's a simultaneous action game, dexterity-based game, where what you're doing with that one is you've got 3 dice and you're rolling them and you're trying to clear your board as fast as you can. So on the different dice, they've got 1 dice that says which direction, so left, right, or center. You've got 1 dice that says the quantity, so 1, 2, or 3. And then another dice that has all the different little icons and different things that are on your board. So with Astro Trash, it's got these cool, like almost rock candy-ish pieces. And they're nice and hefty plastic pieces. And you're trying to clear all the space garbage off your planet as fast as you can. So you're rolling your dice and you're going, oh, cool, it's a 2 red piece left. So I'm going to take those and then go put those on your board. And then I'm rolling them again and again and again and again. So everyone's doing it as fast as they possibly can. It's a great game for kids because the pieces are pretty big and you're doing that. But I say for kids, but at the same time, oh man, you get a bunch of gamer people around at that table. It's a good in-between game because all of a sudden it's like, oh, what you're doing? And everyone stands up and they're looking ready. And you're like, there's one hand on the table and they're prepped. And you're like, this is
some guys at a 3-point stance. Whoa, slow down, gamer, slow down.
Yeah, right. So yeah, it gets pretty good. I'm still stoked that we're doing this outside right now. I'm just amused by this.
So backstory, we're all set to do this. Of course, we're having to do this socially distant. And 10 minutes before we go live, Ross sends me a text message. He goes, I have no power in my house right now, but I got my laptop, but I don't have internet. So luckily, we live 5 minutes away from each other. So he came over here to my East County garage studio. I rolled up the door. I threw a table out. We're still perfectly socially.
Oh, we are distance plenty. It's just so funny because here we are doing these things. So it's gonna be a good day.
That will surmise the entire weekend. It'll be a lot of that. If you have any questions for us about games we're going to be playing, about when we're going to be doing it, the schedule for today is down at the bottom. 2:00. We'll get into some Hues and Qs and possibly like Slate later on this afternoon. 6 as we wrap up things for day 1. We'll be talking about the Trivial Pursuit stuff, and I believe we're going to play some of that as well. You are more than welcome to be involved with that. All you need to do is be in chat. You see how easy it is. You can pop in, talk to us, have a conversation about games. That is what this whole weekend is about. If you want to share the link, it is on both the schedules on the Ops Facebook page and the Alt 94.9 Facebook page. And we will see you at 2:00, unless Ross has something to add to it.
No, I mean, it's going to be pretty good, right? Because we'll be doing all those different games. And over the weekend, too, I think we're going to be playing some Scooby-Doo, which is going to be super fun.
All right, that game still scares me.
Oh, it's going to be good. I'm excited, man.
You're excited. I'm terrified. So it's up on the screen right now. The Scooby-Doo is actually a escape room, but it's done on board game.
Right. So this is a whole new engine for us, which is really fun. So we're doing this Coded Chronicles. It's a thematic escape room game. So what you're going to be doing is you're all playing as a team, and you are the gang, right? So you're Freddy, Shaggy, Scooby, Velma, Daphne, and the mystery machine has broken down and in front of a big mansion. And oh my gosh, you look up on the hill, there's a mansion, and Freddy goes to Shaggy and goes, "Oh, we should take the van up there." So every character has their own book. It has this whole read-through thing. And what you're doing is on the different pieces, which we'll go over when we play, it's got all these different numbers that are on there. And so you can go look as Velma and go, okay, cool. On the different board pieces, I've got 201 for the table, or there's the dresser or the door. I want to go investigate and see what's going on. So just like you would for an escape room where you're going to touch the piece, you're going to look under the lamp and do all this different stuff. You're doing that with the game. And every character has an interaction with every piece in the game, and they have a little text bit with it too. So everybody's reading through and playing it. You've got Scooby Stacks as well, just in case you get a little stuck and you want to figure out what's the right way to go on that.
Oh, it's giving me the cold sweats just thinking about it.
Oh, it's going to be good. And one of the really, really fun things, too, is we're going to be joined by Sing-Fu Lim, who is the designer for the game. So he'll be joining us. He'll be walking through how it normally goes. I'm really glad that we can have him be a part of this, too, because he normally comes out for Comic-Con as well. So he's from Canada. So it's fun that we get to come in and have him be a part of the stream.
Well, this afternoon, it'll be you, me, and we'll have Jack, who does the morning show on Alt 94.9, playing Hughes and Blank Slate. It should be fun.
Oh, that's good. That's great.
Be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be good. And then for the Trivia Pursuit stuff too, we'll have Pat Marino, who's going to be on, joining us, and he'll be around all weekend as well for different stuff. He's been around designing games with us for the op. His first big game he had with us was this game called Court of the Dead Mourner's Call, which this one's much more of a heavier game. It was our first partnership with Sideshow Collectibles. And they always have that huge booth at Comic-Con, which is super cool, full of all their great statues. I think we all look and watch and go, I want to buy all these things. Right?
That's the problem, though. And you just see everything, and you want
it, man. I really want one of those big Magnetos, right? Like, it's just the coolest thing. But they have their own IP called Court of the Dead, which is this really cool underworld kind of thing. It's all designed by Tom, who's a big part of the Sideshow, and it's this heaven and hell are battling each other, and they created this death character who kind of manages the flow of soul energy, and he was tired of their endless war, so he decided to create his own court in different factions to help mitigate that, but at the same time use some of that energy to build his own army to eventually overthrow heaven and hell. And so we were able to design this game that is the whole map of the underworld, and you're playing as different factions. You've got assassins and pit fighters and all kinds of cool characters that are going around. It was a really fun game for us to do because it was one of our first games where we decided to really push our limits. The board itself has some cool matte finishes and some shiny vinyl finishes. All the miniatures are all different pieces and they're painted. It's got metal components for coins and little skull pieces. So it's a cool piece. Obviously not one that we're going to be doing on stream, but it's kind of fun that we get to do these different stuff, which is really fun.
You really have a game for everybody, don't you?
That's kind of the goal, right? I think one of the fun things we do at the op is we love that games tell stories, right? And everyone's a gamer, they just don't know it yet. And I think it's one of the cool things about gaming is even though we all kind of say we grew up with our nostalgia games from Monopoly, Risk, and Clue, and so on, Uno, right, and all those different things, there's so many games that are out now that are outside of that kind of gateway foundation games we all grew up with. All we got to do is keep getting games out there to let people know, hey, there's a game for you, you know?
I think you nailed it right there. Games tell stories, and we forget about that when we start to play games. There's a story to tell. It's fun to roll the dice. It's fun to get cards, but there's also a communal story being told on the table, and I think that's what brings everybody together, and that's what makes it so much fun that we can even do it when we're not in the same room together.
Totally. I think that's been one of the really nice things too about everything going on with gaming right now is life is tough, right? And we're all going through everything there. But like the last 2 nights, I've had a D&D game on Tuesday and Wednesday. You know, Jeremy, you've been playing D&D too, right? So
3 nights a week.
yeah, we're all doing our stuff. I'm at a Blood Bowl League too for Warhammer stuff, which is pretty neat. Yeah, and last night's campaign, we were on our way to Neverwinter, and we ended up getting attacked by griffins. So my orc was picked up. I rolled out of its claw. I ended up riding it, and I crashed it into the other griffin, and then we took care of one of them after we defeated them, and then we ended up animal handling it enough where I could ride the griffin to the beginning of Neverwinter. So I'm totally riding it with holding my lightning axe, and we did all of that. It was good.
Telling a story through games. Everyone's just got a different way of telling it.
Everyone's gonna do it, right? And so it's neat. And so kind of on that too, we're not going to be able to play this weekend, but we've been working really close with Pixar. We're going to be coming out with a game called Onward: Quests of Yore, Barley's Edition, right? So
tell me more.
Right. So you may have seen the movie earlier this year. Pixar came out with a film called Onward, which features 2 brothers as they go on this adventure to find their dad. They have a spell that can bring him back for just a day. And it's a kind of a tribute and a love letter to D&D and role-playing games and gamers in general, right? I always kind of joke that Barley, who's the main character, he's like a Disney princess for me, you know? So, you know, and he paints miniatures, he listens to metal, right? He didn't know what he was going to do with his life growing up. And so, Hamby, good to see you, man. But yeah, so for the for Onward, so in that world, he plays a game called Quests of Yore, which is their role-playing game. It's got all these cards, and it's I think one of the funny things about it is when one of the opening scenes, not to spoil anything, right? But the mom walks by and she bumps the table, and Barley rolls down, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, Mom, no, there's an ongoing campaign. You can't bump it." And I'm like, "Oh man, we have all been there, right?" So we got to make the game. Well, at least right now you can't bump games that are on Roll20, right? So
boom, there you go.
Which is good. So we've been working with them really closely to make this game that is the game in the world. So Pat Marino has been a big part of that. We have some other designers too. And it's going to have 12 different campaigns that are playing through one overarching story. We've got all these cool pre-built characters from an elf warrior and a manticore defender and all different things. And it's a nice intro into role-playing games as well. So you're not going to be doing as much number crunching on I have 3 to my strength and 2 to my attack roll. It's more about the quest master is leading you on this journey, and you've got different attributes and traits that add different dice rolls to you. So you could have a D6 in bravery and a D8 in aim. So now, okay, you're going to take a shot at that orc over there. So you're going to bravely take your aim roll. So you'll roll a D6 and a D8. Oh my gosh, you got a 14. That's amazing, right? So then you're going to do damage there. And everything's built off your heart's fire and your grit as you're going around and doing all of this. So it's be coming out later in the year in November. We're really excited to be working with Disney hand in hand for this really cool product that's this nice love letter to gamers.
How many? I mean, I know there's a lot of Disney fans out there. How many Disney products do you have offhand? I mean, can you even
I mean, I could probably, so the ones that we've been promoting kind of in the main boards for us right now. So we have right up there, we've got Geek Out Disney, which is a really cool one. We'll be playing that later this week too. It's from Elisa Teague. She's a fantastic game designer. And honestly, how many games we play could be a Geek Out Disney question, right? Because it's kind of like a bluffing question-based thing. We've got that one. We just announced we're going to be doing a Munchkin Disney. So if you know the game Munchkin, which is a wonderful classic kind of card dungeon delving game, we're going to be doing a Munchkin Disney there. We just came out last year with a Kingdom Hearts Talisman game, which I think is very Disney through and through there. We have a Munchkin DuckTales, woo, which is super fun. We have a whole bunch of games that we do with Nightmare Before Christmas. So we've got all kinds of games we do with that brand. Along with that, we do games for the Disney parks. So they have a new Clue coming out this year. We had a big part of, which is super fun. And then I guess if on the expanded world of Disney, we do a lot with Marvel and Star Wars too. So we do a lot of Marvel games we do. We have new Star Wars games we do. So I think it's really fun that Disney gets to kind of play around with all of these different licenses and stories that we've grown up to love. And then at the op, we've been a big partner with them for years. So we get to play games and make games all in those different stories.
Love it. I just the scope and the depth of what you guys have to offer is absolutely ridiculous, and it just I'm so excited to spend these next 4 days playing games with you and talking about the op. And thanks for this opportunity to come and share these games with everyone here on the web, on the radio. I appreciate it, man.
I'm really glad we could be here and do this. I know we've kind of been talking about it for a while. Like I've got to come on and do different stuff, but now we're really going to get to dive in and be a part of the Comic-Con at home experience, right? Because I think one of the things with Comic-Con in general too is that it's not always just about what's going on at the convention center, right? It's what things are happening outside and around, and I'm glad that we get to kind of celebrate that in our own way, you know.
So, we do it in our style.
We really do. And we really do. No joke. I was like, oh, it wouldn't be Comic-Con if something wasn't going weird. So here we go. But it's good stuff. You know, I think one of the fun things that we get to do with the op, I was kind of talking about it earlier, where it's all these different games that are happening, but we get to create these different things. And especially like I kind of go back to the Comic-Con stuff, but it's funny because like we almost go on like a mini vacation a little bit, where everybody's down there working the booth and doing these things. We've got so many different people that are really excited to be a part of all that. So I'm glad that we get to share and do more. We've been a part of San Diego for a long time. We've got a lot of people that are really passionate about all these different shows and brands and movies we all get to watch. So getting to plug that into gaming is just good times.
All right. Anything else from chat before we take a break and come back later on this afternoon with some games? God, I really want to play now.
Right?
Can we just spend the entire afternoon sitting here playing games? But I guess, you know, there are things that come in between.
I mean, we're pretty much going to do that, right? So it's going to be a good time. It's funny too, because after we're going to be on the air later the afternoon, I'll be jumping right onto Board Game Geek too. They're doing a whole thing with Comic-Con at home and Comic-Con gaming, so we'll be showing off more games with them. It's going to be boom.
Well, we will call that for now. We will see you back 2 p.m. Pacific right here for Hughes and Cues, which I'm stoked to play, and some Blake Slate. We want you to play along. We will see you then.